Throughout history, there have been mysteries that refuse to die, enigmas that have haunted scientists, baffled historians, and ignited endless debate among ordinary people. From vanished civilizations and strange artifacts to eerie disappearances and events that defy all logic, these puzzles stand as eternal reminders that the world is far stranger than we like to admit. And here's the truth. Even with all of our technology, our satellites, our DNA testing, and advanced archaeology, some mysteries refuse to be explained. So buckle up, because in this first part of our series, we'll begin an unforgettable journey into the most unsolved mysteries that continue to haunt humanity. But before we dive in, let me ask you, where are you watching from right now? And what time is it where you are? Drop your answer in the comments. I love seeing how far and wide these mysteries travel across the globe. And if you haven't already, make sure to subscribe and hit the bell icon, because what you're about to see is only part one of an epic journey. Trust me, you won't want to miss what's coming. We'll begin in South Asia, nearly 4,000 years ago. The Indus Valley civilization, stretching across modern Pakistan and northwest India, was one of the world's great cradles of civilization. They built massive cities like Mohenjo-daro and Harappa, laid out with extraordinary precision, featuring drainage systems that rivaled European cities thousands of years later. And then suddenly, it was gone. By around 1500 BCE, this vast civilization had completely collapsed. Their language, written in mysterious symbols we still can't decipher, was lost forever. Unlike the Egyptians or Mesopotamians, the Indus people left behind no grand temples or glorified kings, only the ruins of their cities and thousands of tiny seals inscribed with undecipherable markings. Why did they vanish? Some theories point to climate change, suggesting massive droughts dried up the Saraswati River system. Others suggest invasion from Indo-Aryan tribes, though evidence is shaky. And still others whisper about disease, or even internal social collapse. The truth? We simply don't know. A civilization of millions gone, with barely a trace. Their voices silenced, their secrets locked away in a language we can't read. Now, let's leap forward thousands of years to one of the most infamous mysteries of modern times, the Bermuda Triangle. This patch of ocean, roughly forming a triangle between Miami, Bermuda, and Puerto Rico, has been accused of swallowing ships and planes without a trace. From Christopher Columbus reporting strange compass behavior in 1492 to the infamous disappearance of Flight 19 in 1945, 5 U.S. Navy bombers vanished during a training flight. Stories of inexplicable vanishings have made the Bermuda Triangle legendary. Skeptics argue that most disappearances can be explained. Human error, unpredictable storms, even methane gas eruptions from the seafloor. But others point to eerie reports of compass malfunctions, ghost ships found drifting without crews, and cases where entire vessels vanished in calm seas. Even with today's technology, no single explanation fully accounts for all the incidents. Is it dangerous weather patterns? Magnetic anomalies? Or something stranger lurking in those waters? The Bermuda Triangle remains one of Earth's most unsettling puzzles. In 1908, archaeologists digging in Crete unearthed a clay disk that instantly became one of the greatest unsolved puzzles of archaeology. The Phaistos disk. It's about 6 inches across, stamped with 242 symbols arranged in a spiral. The symbols include human figures, animals, tools, and mysterious geometric patterns. What's truly strange? The symbols weren't carved, they were stamped, as if mass-produced. This suggests the use of movable type thousands of years before Gutenberg's printing press. Over a century later, no one has cracked its code. Is it a prayer? A hymn? A curse? Or perhaps even a game? Some even suggest it's a hoax, an elaborate artifact planted in the dig site. Yet no evidence has ever disproven its authenticity. The disc sits in the Heraklion Museum in Crete, mocking every attempt to unlock its secrets. In 1587, a group of English settlers established the Roanoke colony on an island off the coast of North Carolina. By 1590, when supply ships returned, the settlement was empty. Completely empty. Over 100 men, women, and children had vanished without a trace. The only clue was a single word carved into a post, Croatoan. Theories abound. Some suggest the settlers were killed by hostile tribes. Others believe they assimilated with local Native Americans, blending into their culture. Still others speculate disease, starvation, or Spanish raiders wiped them out. But the truth remains a haunting blank. To this day, no definitive evidence has ever been found. No mass graves, no artifacts, no bodies. Just an empty colony and a single word etched into wood. On August 15, 1977, radio astronomer Jerry Emmon was scanning deep space at Ohio State University's Big Ear radio telescope when something extraordinary happened. For exactly 72 seconds, the telescope picked up a powerful narrowband radio signal from deep space, so distinct and unusual that Emmon circled it in red ink on the datasheet and wrote one word in the margin: wow. The wow signal came from the direction of Sagittarius. It wasn't natural static, and it didn't match any known human-made satellite. Some called it the best candidate for extraterrestrial communication ever detected. And then, it was gone. Never repeated, never explained. Skeptics argue it could have been a passing comet or an unknown terrestrial source. But others believe it may have been a genuine hello from another civilization, one we never managed to answer. Summer 1518, Strasbourg, in what is now France. A woman named Frau Trophea walked into the street and began dancing uncontrollably. Days passed. She didn't stop. Soon dozens of others joined her, dancing frantically, day and night. Within weeks, hundreds of people were dancing, unable to control themselves, until many collapsed and died of exhaustion, heart attacks, or strokes. The authorities were baffled. Some thought it was demonic possession. Others ordered musicians to play, thinking it would help, but the music only made things worse. Today, scientists speculate mass hysteria, food poisoning from hallucinogenic mold, or some neurological illness. Yet no explanation fully accounts for the scale and intensity of the dancing plague. It remains one of the strangest medical mysteries in history. In medieval England, sometime in the 12th century, villagers in Woolpit discovered something bizarre. Two children, a boy and a girl, with green-tinted skin, speaking an unknown language, wearing strange clothing. The children refused to eat normal food, surviving only on raw beans at first. Eventually, they adapted, and their green hue faded. The boy died young, but the girl survived and integrated into society. When asked where they came from, she reportedly said they came from a land of eternal twilight called the Land of St. Martin, where everyone was green. What were they? Lost orphans with a strange condition? Foreigners suffering from chlorosis, a type of iron deficiency anemia? Or, as some fringe theorists suggest, beings from another world? The story is recorded in multiple medieval chronicles, but no definitive answers exist. In 1901, divers exploring a shipwreck near the Greek island of Antikythera pulled up a corroded bronze object. At first, it looked like a lump of rock, but X-rays revealed something astonishing: a complex system of interlocking gears. The Antikythera mechanism is now recognized as the world's first known computer built over 2,000 years ago. It could predict lunar eclipses, track planetary movements, and calculate astronomical positions with incredible accuracy. The question is, how? No other device with such sophistication would appear for another 1,500 years. Was it a lost invention from a forgotten genius? Part of a larger tradition of advanced Greek engineering that simply didn't survive? Or something stranger? The mechanism shattered our understanding of ancient technology, and yet We still don't know who made it or why, and that's just the beginning. These are only the first glimpses into the long, unsettling list of mysteries that remain unsolved to this very day. From vanished civilizations to strange signals from the stars, from green-skinned children to impossible machines, one thing becomes clear. Human history is not a neat, orderly line. It's a tapestry full of holes, gaps, and eerie shadows. And here's the real question. Do you think we'll ever solve these mysteries? Or are some secrets meant to stay hidden forever? Let me know in the comments. And don't forget, this is just part 1. In part 2, we'll dive even deeper into mysteries that will make you question not just history, but reality itself. So hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications, because the next chapter of our journey. From there, we move into one of the most unnerving mysteries in American folklore. The disappearance of the Sodder children in West Virginia on Christmas Eve, 1945. The Sodder home went up in flames during the night, and while George and Jenny Sodder escaped with 4 of their 10 children, 5 others were presumed dead inside. Yet, in the smoldering ruins, no remains were ever found. Experts later testified that even in a fire of such intensity, bones should have been left behind. Eyewitnesses claimed to have seen the children alive, sometimes weeks after the fire. In strange circumstances, one sighting described them being taken away in a car. Were they kidnapped? Did someone intentionally burn down the house to cover a crime? To this day, the case has never been solved, leaving behind the chilling image of children who simply vanished into the night. The theme of disappearance continues when we look at the Mary Celeste, the infamous ghost ship discovered adrift in the Atlantic Ocean in 1872. The vessel was perfectly seaworthy, fully stocked with food and supplies, but the entire crew had vanished without a trace. The ship's cargo was intact. There were no signs of struggle or piracy, and yet lifeboats were missing. Was it mutiny? Did they abandon ship due to a false sense of danger, only to perish at sea? Or was it something stranger, an encounter with forces beyond comprehension? Maritime historians still debate, but the Mary Celeste remains the quintessential seafaring mystery, haunting sailors' imaginations for centuries. While ships disappearing at sea is unnerving, entire civilizations fading into obscurity is far more disturbing. Take the Olmecs, one of Mesoamerica's earliest advanced societies, predating even the Maya. Known for their massive stone heads carved from basalt, the Olmecs suddenly declined around 400 BCE with little explanation. Did climate change wipe out their agriculture? Did internal strife or disease lead to collapse? Or did they migrate, leaving only silent monuments behind? The lack of written records keeps their fate locked in mystery, reminding us how fragile even the most advanced cultures can be. Another puzzle carved into the earth itself lies in the Nazca lines of Peru. These massive geoglyphs depictions of animals, plants, and geometric shapes are so large they can only be fully appreciated from the air. Created between 500 BCE and 500 CE, their exact purpose remains unknown. Some suggest they were ritual pathways for water ceremonies, others that they served astronomical functions. And inevitably, theories of extraterrestrial involvement have surfaced. But here is the real question. How did a civilization without aerial technology conceive designs that only make sense from above? The Nazca people left us an enormous riddle etched into the desert, and the answer remains tantalizingly out of reach. Moving from Peru to the frozen north, we encounter the tragedy of Franklin's lost expedition. In 1845, Sir John Franklin set sail with 2 ships, HMS Erebus and HMS Terror, in search of the Northwest Passage. The expedition vanished into the Arctic ice. Years later, search parties found evidence of starvation, cannibalism, and bodies eerily preserved in the permafrost. In 2014 and 2016, divers discovered the sunken wrecks of both ships, yet many questions remain unanswered. Why did the crew abandon the ships when they were still stocked with provisions? Why did their survival attempts fail so catastrophically? Even with modern archaeology, the frozen silence of the Arctic has preserved more questions than answers. But not all mysteries come from ancient times or distant expeditions. Some are recent and personal. One of the most famous modern vanishing acts was that of D.B. Cooper. In 1971, a man using the alias Dan Cooper hijacked a Northwest Orient Airlines flight, extorted $200,000 in ransom, and parachuted out of the plane into the wilderness of Washington state. Despite one of the largest manhunts in U.S. history, Cooper was never found, no body, no parachute, no trace. Only a few bundles of cash turned up years later along the Columbia River. Did he die in the jump, or did he outsmart the FBI and escape with his fortune? The legend of D.B. Cooper continues to inspire countless theories and investigations, making him both a criminal and a folk hero. Yet, some mysteries aren't about disappearances at all. They're about artifacts that shouldn't exist. Take the Antikythera mechanism, discovered in a shipwreck off the coast of Greece in 1901. At first glance, it appeared to be a corroded hunk of bronze. But X-ray imaging revealed a complex system of gears capable of predicting astronomical positions and eclipses. Built over 2,000 years ago, it's essentially an ancient computer technology that should not have existed in that era. Who built it, and how did the knowledge vanish for centuries afterward? Was it a lone genius lost to time, or evidence of a forgotten lineage of advanced knowledge? Similarly perplexing is the Voynich manuscript, a book filled with indecipherable text and bizarre illustrations of plants that don't exist. Carbon dating places it in the early 15th century, yet no one has ever cracked its code. Linguists, cryptographers, even military codebreakers have tried and failed. Was it an elaborate hoax? A forgotten language? Or a medical or botanical text written for an audience that no longer exists? Each page taunts us with the possibility of meaning, and yet stubbornly refuses to yield its secrets. And then, of course, there are the skies. One of the most enduring modern mysteries is the Phoenix Lights of 1997. Thousands of people across Arizona reported seeing enormous V-shaped formations of lights moving silently across the sky. The U.S. military later claimed they were flares from training exercises, but eyewitnesses insist what they saw was far too structured, too massive, too controlled. To this day, the Phoenix Lights remain one of the most well-documented UFO sightings in history, sparking endless debate between skeptics and believers. Linking these mysteries together is the unsettling reminder that despite our modern technology, some events still elude explanation. Fires that don't consume bones, ships that sail without crews, civilizations that vanish, artifacts that defy their era, all remind us that history is riddled with gaps, spaces where human understanding has simply failed to keep pace. And in those gaps, speculation thrives. But we're still only halfway through this journey. If you thought these were chilling, the next part dives into mysteries, even stranger stories of entire islands that may never have existed, messages from beyond the grave, and inexplicable events that still haunt the world today. We begin with one of the most unsettling enigmas in all of European history, the Dancing Plague of 1518. In the city of Strasbourg, a woman named Frau Trophia began to dance uncontrollably in the street. Within days, dozens of others had joined her, and soon hundreds were caught in the grip of a bizarre mania. They danced for weeks without stopping, some collapsing from exhaustion, others reportedly dying from heart attacks and strokes. Theories range from mass hysteria to ergot poisoning, a hallucinogenic mold that grows on rye, but none fully explain why people danced themselves to death. It remains one of the most surreal outbreaks in recorded history, a reminder that human psychology can sometimes be as mysterious as any supernatural force. From the streets of Strasbourg, we travel to the Atlantic Ocean, where a phantom island once appeared on maps, High Brazil. Supposedly located off the coast of Ireland, High Brazil was said to be perpetually shrouded in mist, visible only once every 7 years. Sailors reported seeing it, and it appeared on maps for centuries before vanishing entirely. Was it a cartographic error, a mirage, or something stranger? Some accounts even suggest that those who landed on High Brazil returned with knowledge and riches. Today, it stands alongside Atlantis as one of the world's great phantom lands, an island that might never have existed, and yet refuses to be forgotten. Speaking of lost lands, the mystery of Roanoke colony in North America remains chilling. In 1587, over 100 settlers established a colony on Roanoke Island. When supply ships returned 3 years later, the settlement was deserted. Houses were dismantled, belongings left behind, and the word Croatoan was carved into a post. Did the colonists integrate with local tribes? Were they massacred? Or did they vanish under darker circumstances? Despite centuries of investigation, the fate of the lost colony remains unresolved, leaving behind one of America's earliest and most enduring mysteries. But sometimes, mystery doesn't involve vanishing people. It involves messages from the unknown. One of the strangest is the case of the Taos hum in New Mexico. Residents in the small town of Taos report a persistent, low-frequency hum that seems to have no source. Not everyone can hear it, but those who do describe it as maddening. A deep vibration that haunts their days and nights. Engineers and scientists have tried to track it, but no definitive explanation has ever been found. Is it geological? A byproduct of industrial activity? Or something entirely beyond human detection? The Taos hum remains an auditory ghost, a sound without a source. A similar mystery comes from space itself, the wow. Signal detected by astronomer Jerry Emin in 1977. While scanning for extraterrestrial signals with a radio telescope, Emin recorded a strong 72-second signal that stood out from all background noise. He circled it in red pen and wrote, "Wow," in the margin. To this day, the source of this signal has never been identified. Was it a one-time burst from an alien civilization? A natural cosmic phenomenon? Despite decades of listening, we've never heard it again. That single signal hangs in the balance between possibility and impossibility, a tantalizing whisper from the stars. While the wow signal hints at life beyond Earth, another chilling mystery questions the very nature of death itself, the Pollock twins of England. In 1957, two young sisters, Joanna and Jacqueline Pollock, died in a car accident. A year later, their mother gave birth to twins, Jennifer and Jillian. As they grew, the twins began to display knowledge of places, toys, and events that had belonged to their deceased sisters, things they couldn't possibly have known. The case has often been cited as evidence of reincarnation, baffling psychologists and parapsychologists alike. Whether it's coincidence, parental influence, or something more, the story leaves us with unsettling questions about memory, identity, and the possibility of life after death. Another deeply strange enigma lies underground, in the form of the Oak Island Money Pit in Nova Scotia, Canada. Discovered in the late 18th century, the pit appeared to be a man-made shaft with layers of wood, stone, and mysterious booby traps. Treasure hunters have been digging for over 2 centuries, finding fragments of gold, old tools, and cryptic carvings, but never the treasure supposedly hidden deep inside. Some claim it holds pirate gold, others that it hides the Ark of the Covenant or manuscripts of Shakespeare. Despite modern technology, the pit resists excavation, as if determined to guard its secrets forever. From treasure pits to time itself, we find the unsettling phenomenon of time slips incidents, where people claim to suddenly step into another era. One famous case involves 2 British women in 1901 who reported walking through the gardens of Versailles and suddenly finding themselves in the 18th century, witnessing scenes from the French court. When they returned, everything was modern again. Were these hallucinations, shared delusions, or real glimpses across time? Skeptics dismissed them, But the eerie consistency of such reports makes them one of the strangest unsolved categories of mystery. Not all mysteries are ancient or distant. Some are fresh, raw, and still haunting. In 2014, Malaysia Airlines flight MH370 vanished with 239 people aboard. Despite one of the largest search efforts in aviation history, only a few fragments of the plane were ever recovered. No definitive explanation has been agreed upon. Was it mechanical failure, pilot action, hijacking, or something else entirely? For the families of those on board, the lack of closure makes the disappearance even more unbearable. In our supposedly advanced age of satellite tracking and global communication, how could an entire plane just disappear? As we draw to a close, we circle back to the unsettling truth. Mystery is not an artifact of the past. It surrounds us still, from unexplained sounds and lights to vanishings and apparitions. Perhaps the greatest mystery of all is why these stories capture us so deeply. Maybe it's because they remind us of our limits, that for all our science, technology, and exploration, the world still holds corners that refuse to yield their secrets. And maybe, just maybe, those unanswered questions are what keep us reaching, searching, and imagining. Because without mystery, there is no wonder. So as you step away from this compilation of humanity's strangest enigmas, remember, the unexplained is not just history, it's happening now, around us, waiting for the next curious soul to look a little closer.